Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Yes, it does.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from CHOBO Studios in
beautiful downtown Van Nuys.
That's right. I think Ed has a list of people he wants to...
Well, I'm not so much going to list people, but I do want to say reach out to support the show at patreon.com/funniest thing. That's patreon.com/funniest thing. You can do a monthly contribution to the show. Darrell and I have been freewheeling out here ever since Unity Online Radio closed its doors. And even when we were there, we were still, it's not like they were paying us to do the show.
We were actually paying we've been paying for the privilege to do this show for the past 10 years. You know, we also found out, we have many tiers you can select as low as $5 all the way up to $100 per month.
Right.
But we also found out from a new Patreon contributor, that you could actually enter in your own amount. So if you want to enter something lower or higher or something in between, please do it. Yeah, because all the proceeds and the income from Patreon go towards supporting and producing this show.
Yes, I did want to give one shout out to Patreon contributor, Leslie Laird. She sent us a really nice PDF of all the notes she takes from the show. She's done that in the past. She said, "Hello, my precious friends. As you know, I take notes when listening to uplifting audios and videos. I put them into my phone notes app. I transferred a bunch of them to my email today and put them together in the attached document. Just thought you might like to take a look during your morning routine. Love to you both, Leslie." And thank you. And we're also sending love to Leslie's mother. She asked for a prayer request the other day. Radiant health.
Yes.
Peace of mind, knowing that love is always working and all things are possible. I think this is going to be a great show for that very thing, for that very purpose. So, with no further ado,
it's time to surrender to win.
Yes, today's show is called Surrender to Win with Nick the Poet. Don't be held back by your unbelief. Did we get a glimpse of Nick the Poet for those in the YouTube land? Oh boy, nice. Handsome. I think he got more handsome since we last saw him.
Well, it's the G.I. Joe lifelike hair beard.
Oh, wow. We got to find out where we can order one of those. All right. The show's called Surrender to Win with Nick the Poet.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
He really does look like an action hero from G.I. Joe era cartoons, man. Looking good, Nicky. There you go, mate. All right. Don't be held back by your unbelief. The most common problems we face are our own fears and a lack of trust in life. When these thoughts pop up, let us remember that things always work out as we wholeheartedly give up struggling and accept God's help. Our feelings of futility are transformed as we surrender and allow ourselves to be rejuvenated by God's grace and power. On this episode, Darrell and Ed remind listeners that expecting miracles is the ultimate act of humility. And in the second segment, creative coach Nick the Poet joins the show from the Wee Cadre van, no less. I believe he's out there in the van, which we actually recorded in with Jim Ronan. Ronan? Is it Ronan?
Yes, Ronan.
Jim Ronan. Nick the Poet joins the show to read and discuss today's daily word, which is faith. Man, do we have a great show today.
Yes. Why don't we start with, we have 3 breaths, but something popped in your head on the way here.
Yeah, I was driving over the hill, and I have been, doing my normal morning routine of waking up, reading inspired reading, just like the books we read here. If you need books to read that have the medicine, as we call it, like Emmett Fox or Alan Cohen, Ernest Holmes, or Mary Kupferle, go to darrellanded.com. There's a reading list. You can order the books yourself. So I did all of that. And there was still like this lingering, I get this anxious feeling that comes up sometimes when I'm a bit tired and I'm just not quite in the flow of I was in a more peaceful state, but I had to really get myself energized. I had to put on some good music, start singing along, I can imagine Nick the Poet doing this
Wag
in the morning.
first.
Yeah. What is this, Sylvester
That was his
Stallone?
show. No.
Oh, wag first.
That
Yes,
was an episode we
yeah.
did. We got to start wagging first, then the good starts following.
That's actually an Emmett Fox reading as well. Wag first. Get your body and your mind moving like it wants to be happy and joyous. So I was doing that. I put on some songs to sing, and the song came on. I can't stop this feeling.
Oh, wait.
Deep
Ooga, cha-cha.
inside of
Ooga,
me.
cha-cha.
Right?
Ooga, ooga,
Yeah.
ooga, cha-cha.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, the affirmation that came from that song that was so perfect for the show was, how does it go? Oh, yeah, it goes, I'm high on believing. I changed the words just a little.
Yeah.
God's in love with me.
Yeah.
So this recognition that we live in this world, this universe, that loves us, changing our whole perception, my whole story. This is really what the show's all about. And I feel like I'm discovering another level of just like grumbling that goes on within me that's based on a worldview that I'm not loved, that I have to struggle. And so now I'm digging deeper, and sometimes I think singing and like simple things like dancing or just moving around is like a way to reach that deeper part of me that was grumbling and change it into God loves me. I'm high on believing God's in love with me. Yeah. So the good news is about that. Do you want to do the three breaths?
Because we also had another 3 breaths.
Yeah. So you can use that, but
that's a great one. But we also had, because the key that helps us is to know we don't have to be completely convinced that we're going to get well, or that things are going to change, or that business is going to get better. We don't have to completely believe.
Right.
But just having enough belief to want to believe it, or just thinking about it, and even the little motivation to keep moving in that direction in spite of our unbelief. The good news is that's the tiny little seed that is all you need that will make it happen.
Right. That's like Jesus said, all it takes is the faith of a mustard seed or a poppy seed, we heard it said.
Yeah, poppy seed was actually,
how tiny that is.
The mustard seed was in the King James version.
Yeah.
I found that out when they did the translation, because I don't think in England they knew what a poppy seed was yet.
Oh.
But in the Middle East they did. So now we all know how tiny a poppy seed is. But you know what? This is good. Before we say these breaths, Ed read something from Positive Christianity.net.
Yeah.
And it was, actually he gave a talk. And it was, faith it until you make it. Like we've all heard fake it till you make it, which means proceed with the faith of a mustard seed. That's what it really means. But I like that he totally threw the word fake it out.
That's right.
Because that's out of the picture. And we can use faith it till you make it. It instantly changes my mental attitude.
Right. And it also affirms that the faith is something real that we have.
Yes.
It's something real we're doing. It's not faking it at all. It's using our imagination and the powers of our mind, the mental capacity we have to do something constructive.
Yes.
It's not just faking it. It's actually setting off a sequence
of events,
a power. It's aligning ourselves with life. We're not just... Because faking it, like I've never really liked that either. Fake it till you make it, just because some of the connotations and what that could mean, like, pretending you're a bigwig. But this is the opposite. You don't have to pretend you're anything, but in your mind, you have the faith that you know it. You just start with
things will improve. Yes, whether it's health, finances, business, whatever it is. All I need is the faith that all things will come together for good. Everything has a way of working out. There's always a simple solution to every problem. Nothing's too big for God.
Yeah, because can you imagine, like, whether it's a mustard seed or a poppy seed, if you gave that seed to the part of your mind that is worried, and you said, this is going to turn into a giant bush or whatever.
Yeah,
plant.
This is going to turn into all the health you're looking for. This is going to turn into the financial needs being fulfilled. This tiny little thing. So just plant this in your head.
Right. So, and if you could see that in reality, that's what happens when you plant a tiny seed. what comes out of it is full of colors and fruits and things that look nothing like the seed, right? But that all that energy's inside. I mean, to the doubtful mind, but to the person who knows, they see the seed and go, "Great, that's gonna."
Yeah.
So that's like our thinking. You got to start to be able to recognize that the power is within that thought to just start to expand and grow.
And when we start getting doubtful, that's where we could use the line, just faith it till you make it. Know that it's coming about. I don't know how it's coming about, but I'm just going to continue to faith it because God is going to bring it about in His time, not mine.
And you know why I like this?
And His time, not mine, doesn't necessarily mean, because I know the thought of most people is probably my old stinking thought, which still creeps up.
Yes.
You know, God will bring it about in His time, in the perfect time, but not mine. We all think, oh, then that means longer than I want. No, that doesn't necessarily mean longer. Usually it means quicker than we've been doubting and imagining for ourselves.
Well, that's the thing, because the fear and the doubt and the worry, actually, the actions we take out of that make it take longer. It's like Emmett Fox calls it, putting our foot on the hose of, our creativity, of our good. The more we're putting the full weight of our consciousness, because it's not what we like even say we're doing. It's what we feel inside
and what we're thinking about
on a deeper level, like in a bigger way. What we're thinking, are we really thinking that this action is going to set off this amazing chain of events that's going to bless myself and everyone, or are we thinking, oh no, it's not going to work, I better do something now, and then we're telling people, oh, I'm getting something done, but really, we're fighting against our own mind, which is not believing it's even possible. And that's what I was going to say. That also, the faith of the seed is to let it go.
Yeah, let
it go. When I'm
singing
these songs, I'm not going like, oh, I'm singing these songs, this is going to make the day better. I'm singing these songs almost like I'm going to stop meddling with this great day that's already unfolding and just start relaxing and realize, like, all I got to do is sing along, if you will.
I can't believe it. I was just telling Ed before the show that in a book, I'm not going to have to quote the book, but in the book, it's Emmett Fox, Make Your Life Worthwhile.
Right.
It's another one of the books we recommend, and you could find it anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's been around forever. Even Eddie Murphy recommends it. And in there, he has seven things for a healthy spiritual life. Right. And I go, isn't this funny? This is exactly like the book
that Deepak is.
Yeah. I go, this is exactly the same book. Now I know where he found it. Deepak Chopra found these. But needless to say, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is what you just said. One of those laws, the law of non-resistance. He gives the 7 laws, is what Emmett Fox. And they're one-pagers, and they'll kick you right upstairs in this book.
Right.
And the law of non-resistance is the law of thought and realizing, because what I start doing is I start thinking, because I know these spiritual laws to be true, I start thinking I got to keep a corrected thought about my condition. But then I start obsessing with, is my mind causing this condition or is my mind healing? And the thing is to drop that thought altogether.
Yeah.
Not even, my job is not to think myself well, because that's when I'm putting the weight of my mentality on the hose.
Yeah.
My job is to release it. And in his in his writing, the law of non-resistance, or the law, we could call it the law of change of thought.
Right.
He's suggesting exactly what you just did this morning, because he's saying you can't just not think about the thing we're thinking.
Right.
We have to think about something else or do something else that takes us out of that thought. It's not like your hand, like if you want to let go of a pencil, you just drop it on the desk.
Right.
Well, your mind doesn't work like that. When you try to unthink a thought, it just makes it stronger. But you got to totally replace it. And the more absurd and relaxed and fun, even he suggests, the better it is.
Right.
Because as soon as our mind releases trying to solve the problem or scheme or worry or obsess or even try to fix it with right mental thought, it doesn't work as well as when we totally let it go.
That's right. Yeah.
And let God work.
Yeah.
And that's the grace, like you said in the opening of the show.
Yeah, like a few of the things that helped me this week to shift my thinking. One morning I meditated on and felt this in my body, that I already have all the things that this fearful part of my mind thinks I don't have and wants to fight for. And I sat in that feeling in my body, And by the time I got out of that meditation, like 15 minutes later, or whatever it was, it occurred to me that like pretty much all the strife and struggle in the world is people fighting for things they already have because they're afraid they don't have it. They're afraid they're not worthy of it, or they're afraid they're going to lose it. But we already have it. And so sitting in that helped me. Another one was, I tell Darrell on the way here, I was thinking about how good it felt to be in Missouri.
Yes.
And so, like, because it's just a much more laid-back pace of life. People are more quick to strike up a conversation.
Yeah, and the less talking about what's wrong with things, more about what's going on right now.
Yeah, people just go out about the town and they're just, their shoulders are down and they're just.
Yeah.
So I just meditated on today. I live in Missouri. I don't need to go, like, in my mind, I am in Missouri. I don't care that we're in LA. And that really helped me.
That's a great one. That came after my punk rock song I sang to Ed.
Which one? Oh, I reminded you of it after that. That's right. No, but I had done it earlier this week. Yeah. And then another day, my brain was in a bit of a gridlock, and I just sat, because I'm thinking what you just said. We can't let go of one thought unless we're willing to just shift our focus to another thought.
Yes.
And when these thoughts are active in our subconscious mind, because they're like patterns there, so they're playing. So we really have to choose to, like, it's almost like there's a movie that we're projecting in one theater, but we have to, and it's very seductive to stay in there.
Oh my God.
We actually have to use the mental effort to leave that theater and look over here and see that there's a whole another movie playing. And my movie, I just laid on my sofa and just appreciated how good it felt to be on the sofa and just focused all my energy on that. And it was amazing how quickly my mind let go of all the stories, because I couldn't both worry and focus on how good it felt to sit on that sofa with my cat nearby and all of that. So it's very simple. It's a lot simpler than we make it. The tricky part is letting go when all this mental energy is moving around these negative stories that we have going through our head, you know?
It's funny. It's because it's like that story in the Bible in 2 Kings chapter 5 where the guy, this I don't know, I'm going to forget his name, folks, but you can look it up.
Yeah.
But there's like a general in the army, but he has leprosy. So his servant or his assistant, I don't know what it is, says, you got to go talk to this guy.
Yeah, he can heal you.
Ishmael or whatever. He'll tell you what to do.
Oh.
I don't know what the guy's name is. But anyway, it's 2 Kings chapter 5. So he goes to talk to the guy, and he thinks the guy's going to wave his hand over him. His leprosy is going to be gone. Instead, the guy goes, hey, go take a dip in the river, in this particular river.
Okay.
7 times, you'll be healed.
Right.
So the guy leaves, and he's telling his assistant, this woman, oh, what a downer. Like, I'm going to go dip in this dirty river 7 times. There's cleaner rivers back home. We wasted our time. And you know what the servant said? The servant said, so if he would have suggested something more difficult, you would have done it, right?
Right.
So why not just instead of worrying about doing something, why don't you just do this simple thing and see what happens?
Yeah. So
he couldn't argue. All right, I got nothing to lose.
Right.
He goes in there 7 times, comes out, he's leprosy free. But that's just what you're driving home the point. These Bible verses are they're psychological medicine, and when we understand their meanings, that's exactly what you just said. The solution's always ridiculously simple. To lay on the couch and just start appreciating. I'm in my home. I'm safe. I'm on my couch.
I think
and you start, and everything changes. You're healed. The healing begins.
And I think the spiritual meaning, if I remember Ken Gray, of like the water really is about spirit. So it's about it's basically, they said, go do your morning routine 7 days a week. Every day you wake up. Just go back into
believe
spirit.
in this silly, simple thing.
Right, because that's where we're made clean. That's where we're renewed by the transforming of our mind. We go back into a deeper wholeness of who we are, and that clears everything, because really the only place this negative stuff exists is in our own mind.
Yeah.
So when we keep dipping back into this river, then we come out clean, and we just have to practice it 7 days a week.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot.
A few minutes a day. Because the faith of a seed is all I need. Let's take a deep breath to clear our mind. The faith of a seed is all I need.
The faith of a seed is all I need. The faith of a seed
is all I need.
That leads perfect to this reading.
We got some great readings here.
Oh, my God. Unexpected. Great readings, folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this will be great going off of all the things that we just discussed.
Yes.
To help really clarify and reinforce everything we're saying. We usually read first in the morning to help break up the rocks of my own thinking that already start being active. But between the time I get out of bed or we get out of bed and we sit down to meditate, all those stories can already start getting active. So we like to read the inspirational stuff first.
You just made me think of something positive to tell myself.
Yes.
That just popped in my head.
Great.
I don't know if you said these words. Did you say in spite of?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, I just thought I could tell myself, in spite of myself, God is still healing me. In spite of myself, God is still prospering.
I can one-up you with something that you said.
Because it helps me let go of that. What? Let's hear it.
You said it better, I believe, a while back, and we did it on the show, which is God brings it about in spite of my doubts.
Thank you. I needed that today.
God brings it about in spite of my doubts. That's where this is this way of living is both reminding us of how amazing we are, and then in an amazing way reminding us of how little we really have to worry about these fearful thoughts in our head.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to feel bigger, and sometimes we really just need to relax into the wholeness of this loving universe and let that just wash away these little fears that we sometimes fixate on.
Well, this one comes from a book called 24 Hours a Day.
Yeah.
It's popular for alcoholics, or it's strong enough for alcoholics, but Darrell and Ed like
just
it too.
Read it.
Well, I gotta let them know in case
you
they
always
look
say
at
that. Oh, that's right. I was wondering. I was thinking about that this week.
If they look it up, they might go, "Wait a minute, this is for AA members."
Oh,
I don't want anyone to.
Fair enough.
I ordered a book that Darrell Ed recommended. Are they trying to say we're all alcoholics? No, we're not, folks. But the 12-step groups actually.
But I will say
about.
this for those of you who don't know, that everything taught in 12-step recovery came from
That's what I was going to say.
New Thought. I mean, it's New Thought principles applied to a very specific. Literally,
disease.
That's the movement of New Thought that came in the late 1800s.
Yes.
Those were the materials that were then focused. They were like, oh, we can use this
for
to
tuberculosis. So the founders of AA said, hey, why don't we apply this to alcoholism? And that's
right. And it's the reason I say that is because it's universal principles.
Yes.
And we apply them in specific ways to different things that we need to apply them to. But I think every person in every group that calls themselves spiritual or whatever you call yourself,
yes,
you have to recognize that if it's based on principle that every other group is, if they're practicing those principles, we are all together in this.
Yes.
So we need to not cling to little definitions of groups and see the bigger group, because these are universal principles. And I was in a group through the spiritual psychology community and this and that and blah blah blah, agape in the past, and it's like every one of those groups is like, we cling to each other because we're the only ones who get it.
No,
I got news for you. We're all practicing the same principles, and while it's great to have, your unique people or whatever, but it's also great to understand that these are universal principles, and if they're true for you, they're true for everyone, and anyone who's having any level of success in life in some way or shape or form is practicing these principles.
Yes, even if they're unaware that they're practicing them. You don't even have to be reading these books. There are people who are naturally in tune and trust their inner voice and rely on these principles inherently.
Right. The central teacher of Christianity, Jesus, was all about going amongst everyone. And people are like, oh my God, you talk to that person? He's like, I talk to that person. They're just like you. They're a whole loving expression of the divine, living expression of the divine. And they're like, oh my God. It's like, that's really a big deal to realize that every one of us is an expression of the divine. It's like, it's so funny that these are the big deals. All right, go ahead.
Well, all that being said, the secret recipe to all of that and all these groups is, and this is July 13th in 24 hours, be expectant. Constantly expect better things. Believe what God has in store for you is better than anything you ever had before. The way to grow old happily is to expect better things right up to the end of your life and even beyond that. A good life is a growing, expanding life with ever-widening horizons, an ever greater circle of friends and acquaintances, and an ever greater opportunity for usefulness. And the prayer is, I pray that I may await with complete faith, that's faith it till you make it, for the next good thing in store for me. I pray that I may always keep an expectant attitude towards life.
Yes, and there's a good reason to, because in God Will See You Through by Mary Kupferle on page 112, she says, God will take care of you in every circumstance of your life as you quietly let go and let him. God is caring for you, watching over you and protecting you. God is renewing you and rebuilding you, filling you with his joy and folding you in his love. God is taking care of your smallest need and your greatest desire. God is helping you to release your tensions. God is dissolving your fears. New peace and assurance come to you as you simply, trustingly affirm, God is taking care of it. And if you stop thinking of God as a person, or if you're worried about that, and just think of this as a word for something that has no word, that's so large and so expansive. It's our divinity. It's the goodness of life. That is always with us and for us. As you relax into that, that's what transforms everything. And then
this is a great exercise. So since the topic of this is surrender to win, these are the things we're talking about surrendering, this exercise I'm going to read. It wasn't really written as an exercise, but that's the great thing about these books. You modify them for you, what works best. And this is from A New Day. It's a morning meditation book. And on July 15th, there's a quote, worry is a form of fear, and all forms of fear produce fatigue.
Yes.
A man who has learned not to feel fear will find the fatigue of daily life enormously diminished. So I'm going to read these sentences, and after each one, I'm adding, I let it go.
Yes.
So when these things crop up in your life during the week or during the day, try this exercise. I'm sickened, because this is really my self-pity does this. I was doing the song, the punk rock song I was talking about.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't want to live in L.A. anymore.
Right. It was a good one, man.
It was a good one. I was like Mr. Anti-L.A. And then Ed goes, well, the other day I meditated that I was in Missouri. And I go, oh, man, that's what I'm going to start doing.
Yeah.
Because then you really live anywhere. Then all of a sudden L.A. becomes fine.
Right.
It's all just my state of mind. Well, here we go. I'm sick and tired of worrying about things that don't really matter. I let it go.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of having unreasonable expectations of myself. I let it go.
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of worrying about things over which I have no control. I let it go. I'm sick and tired of worrying about what other people are thinking about me.
I let it go.
I'm sick and tired of taking my emotional temperature. I let it go. I'm sick and tired of using my energy foolishly by regretting what happened yesterday and worrying about what might happen tomorrow. I let it go. I'm sick and tired of comparing my insides to other people's outsides.
I let it go.
I'm sick and tired of being so hard on myself.
I let it go.
I'm sick and tired of waiting until the last minute and causing myself problems by putting things off. I let it go. I'm sick and tired of feeling sorry for myself. I let it go. I'm sick and tired of living in the problem instead of the solution. I let it go. And finally, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I let it go.
Oh, yes. All right. Coming up next, today's guest, creative coach Nick the Poet, joins the show to read and discuss today's daily word, which is faith. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed.
Surrender to Win with Nick the Poet. We're in the second segment of our show today, folks. Ed, what do you got?
Oh, my gosh. So many things are bubbling in my brain, man. The big thing that popped up in my head, I got to say, when at the end of that last segment was, this is the crux of New Thought, which I think why it appeals to some and other people overlook it is that it's really about realizing that the world does not need to be changed, but we need to change our mind about what this world is that we live in.
Yes.
And that is actually the most liberating thing in the world. I was talking to my buddy about education, and I was like, you can either try to change the education system or just change the way you look at it and realize that's the big that's the big thing that needs to be changed. Because when I changed the way I looked at it, they hired me as the inclusion specialist. I was running these lunch groups. I didn't have to change the system for it. I don't know. I just let God lead me, or life lead me in the inspired direction. And I was doing things that people would think aren't being done.
Well, you're right. Because even the way I bless the VA, I get blessed by the VA and don't experience any of the horror stories that everyone else says.
It's the crux of everything we read, whether it's Course in Miracles or New Thought, is first treat the concern in your brain before you try to treat the condition. Once you let go of the concern and realize the energy's flowing, the condition will change on its own. And if there's anything we need to do, we'll be inspired to do it. And another thing, I just read this from Mark 11:23-25. Something you said kick this off. Move a mountain. If you have, I was like, what is that? The whole thing about move a mountain? And this is the message interpretation. It says Jesus was matter of fact. Embrace this God life. Really embrace it, and nothing will be too much for you. And you embrace it by doing a morning routine. This mountain, for instance, just say, go jump in the lake. No shuffling or hemming and hawing. And remember, mountains are the things in our lives that seem immovable.
And no begging, please, I hope you move it, God.
Just say, go jump in a lake. No
I'm going to say that to my problems.
Yes.
Go jump in a lake.
No shuffling or hemming and hawing, and it's as good as done. That's why I urge you to pray for absolutely everything, ranging from small to large, including everything as you embrace this God life, and you'll get God's everything.
Can you copy that and send it to me somehow?
And when you assume the posture of prayer, remember that it's not all asking. If you have anything against someone, forgive it. And that really means letting go of the story we're telling ourselves about what happened. Only then will your Heavenly Father be inclined to also wipe your slate clean of sins. And then one other little reading. I'm going to read just a part of this from Positive Christianity email from today. His name's Chris Chenoweth.
Yeah.
He's a Unity minister. Please affirm his health and well-being right now. And he says, what may be impossible to your human thinking is completely possible to God right now. God knows the way. When to your human mind there may seem to be no way, you can meet and overcome everything when you have the invincible power of God working for you. And he says, have you thought that some door is closed? Have you resigned yourself to some limitation simply because that's the way it is? Do not give in to any belief that your God good can be kept from you. You remind yourself today that with God all things are possible, that the happiness and fulfillment you seek are right now seeking you. That's the thing. That's why we got to be open and receptive. More than doing anything, it's like open the door to let it in. You are free to open the door to new life. You let God's help you through laying hold of the realization that God makes all things possible. This realization can transform your life. It says feeling one with God and all that God is helps us to be in tune with the vast spectrum of endless possibilities of life. You are carried along on the currents of faith and joy. Life becomes fun again. You live in a constant state of thankfulness. You experience divine order in all phases of your life and being. Peace becomes the primary feeling in your mind, and all confusion and doubt are cast out. With God directing you, success and happiness will take over in all that you undertake.
Can you send me that? I love that because it's the scheming that kills us. That's why humility is really, like, pridefulness is my scheming, trying to figure out how to solve this problem, or what I think is going to need necessary to be done to make this come about. And he just makes it just
so simple.
Release it to God and ask him for the guide. Don't worry about this stuff.
That's right. Well, we want to thank our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to send us anything, funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. You can go to Darrell and Ed website, darrellanded.com, or the Funniest Thing fan page on Facebook. You can message us there. You can come on the show. If you have any questions, you have an idea for a show, let us know. Darrell's got a new book out called Break Out of Your Box, wherever you get books. You can look on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the book in Darrell's hand right now. If you haven't checked this out on YouTube, I really recommend it. Great full episodes are there, courtesy of CHOBO Studios, chobostudios.com. That's where we're at. You want to say hello, Indy?
Hey, everybody, and also thank you, Barbara, for the Starbucks card. That's been awesome.
That's right. Barbara Weatherman sent us a nice card with $25 Starbucks cards for Darrell, myself, Stephen Tom Thorpe, and Indy Fawcett. So thank you, Barbara Weatherman. She said, just sending a little sunshine your way. Thank you for brightening my life. Carry on. Thank you, Barbara. Oh, we also got in the mailbag Ruben one of my students.
Ruben Kincaid.
On YouTube, he said, "Hi, Mr. B, it's Ruben. I miss you. Can't wait to see you again. I'm going to be a 4th grader." And I know for a fact he actually watches the shows. He's quoted them on when he was in 3rd grade. He would quote back to me parts of the show, so it was amazing. Sherry Knight said, "Great show, guys." This was about the Jeff Spike show up on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. What's the title of that show?
That's Deal Me In.
Deal Me In
yeah.
with Jeff Spike.
Barbara Weatherman said, "So good." So thank you, Barbara, again for the card. I just want to say, Darrell got a review from Sister Mary Leah Hill, the Krabby Mystic, on his book. It says, "Fazara, I love your book. It's the one we should all read." Remember, this is a nun. How old is she?
This is nun approved, ladies and
gentlemen.
She's
been a nun for quite some time.
Yes, she still carries a ruler.
That's right. That's true. About a generation. She's also known as the Krabby Mystic, and she's a great author as well.
Yes.
Sister Mary Leah Hill. About a generation ago, we thought we had God in a box. Now it's our turn. So many of us are imprisoned in a box of our own making. Why? Because we don't realize we did this to ourselves. We're kind of content with our sad state, and we don't see a way out. We think we're victims of some cruel fate, and we're unaware of our own strength. The magic, the positive, the explosive energy of break out of your box, be your heroic self is this. Fazaro boils all of our fears and hesitancies down to the fact that we're afraid of what we could be, of what we should be. The goal is not hard to attain, he says. It's our habits that get in the way. We need to shake off our false image and trust in God's love for us. I encourage you to get a copy of Break Out of Your Box. The author, Darrell Fazaro, is an artist, and he will literally draw you out of your box and show you so many practical, positive, enjoyable, and inspiring ways to be genuinely free. So be a hero, break out of your box, and gift the world with your true self.
Can you believe that? And do you let them know if you're in Culver City?
Oh, yeah.
You guys can come see us.
July 30th, I'm going to be interviewing Darrell about this book at the Village Well Books and Coffee, 9900 Culver Boulevard, Culver City, California. That's on Saturday, July 30th at 5 p.m.
It's free.
It's free, and it's a great place. You can get coffee. Nick the Poet might actually join us if it's possible.
Yeah.
He might be there as well. So I think my buddy. Oh no, he's not going to be there. But yeah, it's going to be a great crowd. It's just going to be a metaphysical.
It's going to be like an episode of our show, only live.
Yeah. So pick up Break Out of Your Box. It's another thing you can add to your morning routine or read throughout your day.
And
yes.
if you actually search for the book, Break Out of Your Box, or I signed it Fuzaro, which is my Instagram and artist signing name.
Foozaro.
Yeah, but here's the best thing, Ed, that you don't know.
What?
I searched Fuzaro on Amazon. You know what comes up?
What?
What's recommended?
What?
My book.
Yeah.
And the yodeling pickle.
Wow.
Yes, isn't that great stuff?
I love that. You're in great company there.
Awesome.
All right. So we want to thank our chief engineer out in Missouri, who's still part of the team. He's been with us since the beginning. His name's Jeff Comfort, and each week
he takes us
right into the comfort zone.
Wow.
We already thanked our other chief engineer, which is Indy Fawcett. If you want to record a show out here in Van Nuys, it is chobostudios.com, CHOBO Studios. And we love it here, so thank you, Indy.
Thank you, guys.
Shout out to the prayer line, which is Silent Unity. If you need help surrendering to win, because sometimes we can use all the help we can get to back our own mind off of the ledge. 800 now pray 800-669-7729. They were the first phone line in Missouri. They've been around since the late 1800s.
Yes.
And they pray for 30 days, and they're so prayer conditioned. You won't believe it. They have an app, the U, the letter U, the word pray, the You Pray app. So 800-669-7729. If you really want to go all in on surrendering to win, call Silent Unity. They don't ask for anything. If you want a prayer sent to you, you can give them your address or email, and they'll send it to you.
Or not.
But there's just something about praying from God, not to a reluctant God. It's from the knowing that God is already taking care of it. That's what really transforms our situation, transforms our mind, and renews everything. So shout out to Message of Hope. They provide daily words in Spanish and English to institutions and people in need. Outreach at unityonline.org. Now,
the moment we've been waiting
coming
for.
to us from the We Cadre van.
I don't even know what state he's in.
He's in Chicago.
Oh, wait, there's a cowboy bar in Chicago?
Apparently there's a Texas Roadhouse out there.
Wow.
And we're going to give him a second because it looks like he's on the phone at the moment. But we actually recorded an episode in the We Cadre van We still don't exactly know what goes on in that van.
I don't even know, what goes on in that van. Wait, he's coming. He's back with us.
Almost. So this is a magical experience of meeting them. Anything? How do you know Nick the Poet?
I still don't know. Should we bring him on? Does he know that we're bringing him on?
I don't think so. I think we got to wait until he's done because he's chatting. I think it looks like he's pushing buttons.
Can we get him on the screen for our people in YouTube?
Nick the Poet, how are you, buddy?
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm shuffling. I have to figure out accommodations for tonight.
Oh no, it's okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's life, man.
Oh, so as Billy Joel says, you're a big shot.
Yes. Well, that's why we brought him on.
It is why we brought him on.
Well, I got to be expected for the miracle. You know, you guys are inspiring me to,
yes,
shake and bake here a little bit.
There you go, man. We love it. We love it. So you've been in the green room of the We Cadre van since the beginning of the show. Are there any thoughts that have bubbled up for you or anything you want to lay out there to start off the segment?
Yeah, I just love you guys, and I just feel so lucky that I've found you, like even this week, just getting the text about the readings that were going to be happening and surrendering and, trusting and having faith. It's changed my week in the same way that the first time I heard Fusaro speak and he was giving the tip about thinking, talking to yourself like you're a grandmother in the morning, okay, it's okay. Get up and you're doing well and, go in and get a little cup of coffee. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that can change lives, these little tips about how to be kind to ourselves. And that's really the journey I found myself on. And I have found that when the healing journey begins, we run into the people that we need to meet. And so that's a long-winded way of saying thank you for having me on the show. I love you guys. And I'm so happy that we've made this connection.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah. When you say that, again, these are like very simple things that we talk about that everyone can do. And I think that's why when we're wrapped up in fear, we're looking for like these big bang theories, something that's going to because we think we're like fundamentally flawed in some way. Yeah. We have so many flawed ideas. So we think there's this big thing required. But it's really the small thing.
Yes.
Of letting the light, this brilliant light that's within us, shine through.
Well, it's like the assistant to that general from that Bible verse. She was being the kind and loving grandma. She said, look, why not? We're right here. Yeah. Just do this simple thing. Just jump in the lake 3 times and see what happens. Or I have to remind myself, I'm so glad you said that to me, back to me, Nick. Because when I'm really consciously aware that I can be a loving and supportive and kind grandmother to myself, no matter what's going on in my life, it feels so good. I feel like I'm being kind to the real me.
Yeah, right.
I feel sympathetic towards myself, and that's the beginning of the healing.
That's so true. Yep. I know Nick puts out a lot of posts I don't know about every day, but I see him on Instagram a lot, Nick the Poet. Tell me about some of your inspiration that gets you moving to share the stuff you share.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Emmett Fox because I've been going to a Emmett Fox meditation meeting in the morning for the past 3 months. And we read a passage from Emmett Fox and talk about it. And then we read a passage from the Daily Stoic, this other book, and talk about it. And it's kind of a nice combination of the spirituality of Fox and then the more kind of straight edge, right to the heart of the matter Stoic stuff, which is good for me because I tend to, think a little more abstractly. And so I like having that mixture of the head in the clouds and the feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And today the Fox reading was Large S Unlimited. And they used the quote from Matthew, the Sermon on the Mount, ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. And talked about that. So that's the kind of stuff that and you talked about the book of James too, right? Every good and perfect gift comes from the heavenly Father of lights above. And even before New Thought and before the 12-step thing was formed, it was the book of James, I think, which actually Bill W., the founder of AA, I believe, wanted to call it the James Group, maybe. And so this stuff, it goes way, way back. And so I love all this stuff. And the more that I practice that type of stuff in my life, great things happen and life still happens, but I feel capable of, dealing with it. And so that's kind of where my inspiration comes from.
Yeah. I love what you said because, for one, the lights, the white lights are shining from above you if anyone's watching on YouTube, which looks amazing. But for two, this stuff really changes when I turn it inward, because it is a light that comes from above, but it comes from within. It comes from above within. It's an elevated part of my own consciousness within. When we think about heaven within, our Father who art in heaven, and heaven is within us. That's what, these little things, when we take them kind of for their literal, when he's saying it's within you. So, the meditation is turning within.
Yeah.
And when we do that, it transforms everything, because it brings us back into the awareness of our own divinity. I'm kind of interested in the what do you think? What does that mean to you? The Stoic part of it, because I'm curious about that, because we find that in New Thought as well, that there's this practical, your life is your laboratory. But I kind of like what you just said, because I think a lot of us, Darrell and I, are totally lean towards the creative kind. We got our head in the clouds, and we've also had to learn to anchor it, and that's why we love this stuff.
To be able to apply this to these principles to paying bills, making phone calls that we're afraid to make, all the everyday things, or something unexpected, we had an intruder in our backyard the other night.
Right.
I mean, how do you, and I'm not joking, we really did.
Yeah.
But it all panned out wonderfully well and ended very positively with our local police department, because of applying this stuff even in those circumstances.
Right. And if we don't have, I want to hear from you, Nick, because if we don't have the Stoic part, or whatever you want to call it, the grounded part, then too many great creatives just go off into their own little room and talk about these high and elevated things, but then also kind of have to find ways to numb themselves from the pain of we don't fit in this world. We get overwhelmed by the world. So I just want to know about that practical part for you.
Yeah.
That's a great question. And I love that the topic's faith, because I'm a very fearful guy. I mean, I'm like the deer at the edge of the woods.
Join the club. You're at the right show. Yes. You're on the right show. You're in good company.
I got a big beard and a bold personality, but I'm a scaredy cat. I'm afraid. I'm really late to the deer. Should I go out there? Yes. So it's for me, it's been such a slow process of overcoming these fears. I've always had the white light experiences. That's kind of how, through alcohol and drugs and mental health crisis, where I was having those. My actual progress since getting sober has been this very slow, decade-long march to less fear. And today the Stoic is the progress of the soul, and it says, to what service is my soul committed? Constantly ask yourself this and thoroughly examine yourself by seeing how you relate to that part called the ruling principle. Whose soul do I have now? Do I have that of a child, a youth, a tyrant, a pet, or a wild animal? So it's Marcus Aurelius. So it's kind of what is he talking about? Ryan Holiday asked it, to what are you committed? What cause? What mission? What purpose? And that's why I love what you guys are doing. Because it's the purpose that I see in what you're sharing is it's to love and to be happy and joyous and to be of service and share that message. And that's what a great thing that is. And I know if I'm tied into that feeling, I'm all good. If I'm, it's tricky because I'm also kind of I like to overachieve and I like to try to do all this stuff. And so it can be tricky of that balancing act of trying to make things happen and, and that thing. So it's a tenuous balance, and I think the routines that you talk about of taking time in the morning for inspirational readings and meditation, and also it's important for me to stay connected to people like you, to friends, to family, to loved ones, because if I go off on Nick Island by myself, no human being is meant to be there. Do not ask for whom the bell tolls for thee. We are together. If I'm off on my own thing, right, I'm kind of screwed. But if I'm sticking with the group as much as possible, then I'm okay. And even if I go off on a tangent, I come back to
yes.
And I'm the same way. And I have the I'm tired today. I've kind of been on a trip, and I'm like, part of me is like, in a little bit of, fearful nervousness. I'm traveling again next week.
Yeah.
But it's like, just relax, just chill, brother. And that's why it's like, the other important thing I think is just to like, not to get all big book quoting, because there's so many different ways to heal, and I've happened to benefit from the 12-step stuff along with other stuff. But it's like throughout, it's kind of saying like serenity prayer, take it easy, acceptance. It's basically saying chill the whatever out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yes, because we have to get into alignment with our divinity in order to be effective in the actions we're going to take. And that's like a grounding process. And there was a whole book I read, someone gave me a long time ago, about growing down, like about how so many creatives have to learn to grow down, because we already have these highfalutin ideas.
Like dummy down.
Yeah, it's like, how do you root it into the earth? And he talked about all these people who have done great things in creative endeavors, and some who were able to root it into the earth and create a happy, successful life, and others who were tortured, had that kind of thing. And I think I can tell that's what I was doing when I was singing on my way here. I need like a grounded, healthy purpose for why I'm doing this. Otherwise, like I get like my part of me is like trying to leave my body, so when I'm driving, I like got to anchor myself in my body. That's why I was singing and dancing. I love to surf, do things like that help me to dumb me down.
Well, this morning I was feeling so bad. I was feeling so bad.
Yeah.
I wrote to myself in my morning routine after reading these positive books. I had to remind myself, today I refuse to sink. I rise up via creativity. Meaning like doing what you said. And I go, creative activity. I am inspired by creative ideas, and I take action on them.
Yes.
And as soon as I started thinking that, because then that makes me excited about the show. This is a creative activity that I know is going to make me feel better. And I'm going to take myself like a loving grandmother.
Yes.
Because I really wanted to sink in my cups today, Nick. I mean, I was like, wow.
He's not lying, man.
No, I even sang that awful punk song about how much I hate L.A. and...
Yeah.
But I know I can't stay there. It does me no good.
Right.
And it just perpetuate what I don't want.
Right.
So I have to like kick myself upstairs.
Right.
And these creative remedies that are so simple, but we just have to encourage ourselves to do them.
Yeah.
They work.
You know what? Sue Hodgson, who is a big listener of the show, she sends us a daily email, said this to me the other day. Sent to me through the email. She said, as I discover who I really am, as I watch my ego identity fade into the background, I'm discovering a strength, patience, and acceptance that I never knew I had. A mantra I've been using lately is buckle up. That's what guys like Nick and Darrell and I, we have to buckle up, because I think we all feel this surge of energy so strongly. So we have to buckle up into this life to deliver the goods. I see Nick buckling up in the Weed Cadre van. Yeah. It says, I imagine sitting on a roller coaster and buckling up. That's what a lot of us have to do. This does require bravery and a whole lot of trust. But I also know that not only is the ride worth it, but I am also safe. I am always safe. God owns and runs the roller coaster. So let's fly.
Can you please put that on our Facebook and send me that?
Yeah. Remind me later, because right now, once the show's over, who knows what I'll remember.
You withhold a lot of good stuff.
Hey, I think I shared it with you.
You probably
Look
did.
at Nick, man. What do you got to say, Nick?
We got to get Nick reading the Daily Word before we sign off.
Yeah, true. We might have to go just a few minutes long, but Nick has something to say. I could see it in his beard.
Oh, yeah. I just love being here, and I can't wait to read Fuzaro's new book. What is it? Break out of the box.
Break out of your box, baby.
Break out of your box, baby. Yes.
Yes.
So I come from a family of car salesmen, so I can't help but hawk my own book. There's only one of them right now.
Wow.
It's currently only one copy. So Fuzaro, I may need to ask you how to.
I love
It's got a bunch of pages, a bunch of things. How do I turn it into a book? So
Fuzaro will definitely help you. So
I can
Fuzaro's
help
the best
you
at
do
helping
that.
you to do that. Yeah.
I can help you do that. I love that cover, man. You're not only a
You are
poet,
just
you're
like-
an artist.
That looks like Fuzaro's work, man. You guys are kindred spirits.
I know. Get out here, will you, so I can give you a hug in person?
So I'll share with you my a short poem.
Yes.
Oh, we have to.
on
You're Nick the
trudging.
poet. Yeah, go ahead.
Keep on trudging, brave soldiers of the night. Your dreams shall loft into flight as you buckle up and become one with the light.
Wow! Genius. Do you have the daily word we sent you to read also?
Yes. Let me unbuckle and pull my phone out.
Yeah.
And,
We're going to land this bird in
Indeed.
style. After that, we have a little story we found about you. It
Yeah.
may or may not be true, but every guest gets a story.
I'm sure it's doubtful. What do we got here? Okay, here we go. Faith. My faith empowers me. I have within me the power to overcome doubt and push past fear. I have the power to improve my life by aligning my thoughts and feelings with divine truth. I have the power to accomplish great things, even that may at first seem impossible. With gratitude, I use this power, my spiritual gift of faith, to believe in possibility, to believe in myself, and to believe that God is greater than any perceived obstacle or difficulty. I have faith that I am a beloved child of God, and therefore I already am all I could ever need to be. I have faith I can meet life bravely and boldly, anchored in the belief that nothing is impossible with God. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there.
Nice.
And it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. Matthew 17:20.
I love that because he used the exact same voice of God used in the movie The Ten Commandments.
Well, he's a big-time Hollywood type guy. Look at that hat. That's the Ron Howard special.
Brought me right back to Burt Lancaster and Yul Brynner.
Yeah. You know, I want to say this, and then we're going to tell the story, sing the song, get on out of here. When you were talking about purpose, Nick, you're down there, because I'm looking at the screen that they'll see on YouTube, but he's on this little phone we have on our desk. I realized I was listening to Napoleon Hill interviewing Dale Carnegie. I've been listening to a bunch of these free books on the Audible. I subscribed so I could get a couple books that I wanted. And Carnegie was kind of concerned about the future of the United States, right? And what he said was that these principles need to get to people.
Yes.
To effectively kind of help educate them again about the power of creative imagination and how that has built this country. And I know there's a lot of upheaval and people questioning everything, but I'm just thinking about you going around in that van, and what we do. And another purpose of this, I mean, it's a big thing, and I have no way of knowing if I'll ever be a part of it or not, but it really is to transform the entire planet, and transform the outer United States. But the only way it's ever going to happen is by transforming our inner states, the inner states of our own mind. That is where it has to happen.
Yes.
And it's a fundamental shift into what we realize is possible. So I think it was might have been Emmett. Someone was saying that, I think it might have been Ernest Holmes, but it was just the effect of, not only do we question that there's this giver, not only do we forget that there's a giver and a gift or whatever, he's saying, we've come to the point where so many people question that there even is a giver, that there even is a gift. But it doesn't change the fact there is a giver of life and there is a gift. And once we shift our inner states to become receptive to that, we're in the best place we've ever been. There's more money, there's more resources, there's more people thinking amazing things, and so that's part of our purpose. And like I said, I'm not going to lose sleep at night and wondering what, but this is the way we do it, by sharing these things, and the right people at the right time get a hold of these ideas and change everything. And that's faith the size of a mustard seed, to believe that mountain that people think is unchangeable is definitely, it is changeable. It's changing all the time. And too often we're changing it right back to the old thing by thinking the same thoughts. But when we change our thoughts about it, it transforms and changes for the better. And we get to see the glory of God, if you will, which is the truth of who we are.
Yeah, that goes back to that simple song, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
That's right. Dude. Yeah, I was thinking about Gandhi. If he could transform the government in India, like the colonial,
through peace,
through non-resistance.
Yeah,
he did that.
I know.
Someone did that. We can do this.
We've done it in our. Yeah, it's been done.
And he was dealing with people with guns.
Yeah,
we can and will. This will be done. So, all right. On a lighter note, we have a story
about Nick the poet.
I uncovered this. You know how we do it.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
All right.
We don't know if it's true, but...
When Nick the poet was a youngster, it was clear this guy was born to be a poet, right? Creative sort, sometimes mix up his words in interesting ways, One afternoon, Nick's parents took him to a local state park to have a picnic. You know the kind. Type of place where people go fish, maybe play a little frisbee, maybe go for a hike. Suddenly, Nick's parents look around. He's gone. For nearly an hour, they searched for young Nick.
Just like baby Jesus.
Right. He's gone. No one knows where he is. There's search parties out. They're frantic. And just like Nick, out of the blue, young Nick came strolling down the trail with a big smile. His parents were incensed. You were gone for an hour. Nick was confused.
What do you mean?
Remember, this was the moment they knew that Nick was born to be a poet. His parents asked him, "Where were you?" Nick replied,
"Oh, I just went on a haiku." Oh,
it's Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton. Hi, boss. How you doing?
Wow, that's a great voice of yours. Go ahead.
Just love you too.
Okay, what do you got for us?
We're just gonna jump into
the original lyrics.
These are the original lyrics. 9 to 5.
Oh man. Well, I tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, read, meditate, and pray to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the street, the traffic starts jumping. The folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Praying 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. More than getting by. It's all taken and forgiven. Let God use your mind and you'll up your credit limit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it.
Yeah, visit DarrellandEd.com.
Find Nick the Poet on Instagram and the We Cadre van.
Thank you again for being a part of Funniest Thing.
CHOBOstudios.com. Jeff Comfort, we love you. Working, praying,
and 9 to 5.
You've got passion and a vision. No more hustling time. A whole new way to make a living. Gonna change your life. Do something that gives it meaning. With a happy mind. It's worthy of your dreaming.
I am worthy, man. I am worthy.
Yes.